I keep on bringing orders, and I feel like you guys are not listening to
All
my
right.
case.
So, I've read the motion, I mean the original motion, and I've also read the response. And I heard this matter previously on February 28th of 2025, and I adjourned it because I wanted to see your mom's lease or the Section 8 paperwork because I didn't want to jeopardize her residency. And when you did live with your mother and under what circumstances. So I got your response and I appreciate it. And you received a copy of that as well, Ms. Maldonado?
Yes.
Okay, so it appears that Mr. Guzman is somewhat between residences, so he doesn't really have the ability to have overnights at this point in time. And the question I have is, there's case law, and I don't know if you're aware of this, Ms. Maldonado, but there's quite a bit of it actually, that when parties run into difficulties like this, custodians are between housing or for some reason are in rehab, stuff like that, that there's precedent for this court to say, okay, so I'm temporarily going to suspend overnight parenting time, but for the reasons set forth in Thoreau versus Dorr, 137 Michigan Appeal, 147, a 1984 case, Spears versus Spears, 108 Michigan Appeal, 543, a 1981 case, and Straub versus Straub, 209 Michigan Appeal, 77, a 1995 case. For those reasons that once Mr. Guzman receives or is in a satisfactory place to begin resuming overnights, we're going to resume overnights. Okay. So that's what the case law tells me to do. So I will temporarily suspend the overnights. And you can prepare an order to that effect. And then when Mr. Guzman has an appropriate residence with appropriate people in it, if that's the issue, then he can bring that back to court, and pursuant to those cases, I will reinstate his overnight parenting time. Is that understood by everybody?
So I have a question. So how long is this going to take? Because what I saw in the motion, it was talking about him. The response that he brought up was that he was talking to a friend about taking a place with another friend. And my concern has always been my kid's safety. This is why I asked to go through FOC and do an investigation, because it's not just one thing. It's been a lot of things that have happened between the last evaluation.
I get it. But right now, the thing that caught my attention was, and you made a very compelling case. You told me you were a social worker, you had an ethical obligation. I agreed with you. And I said, okay, I want that stuff. And Mr. Guzman came up with that stuff. So now, if you want to enter an order that doesn't have any overnights right now, but then when he has an acceptable residence, he can bring that back, and you can argue all those things to me again, and I will consider those. But right now, I'm just dealing with the residency issue because I agreed with you. I think that's important, and I didn't want to interfere with anybody's residence in Section 8 because I know how difficult it is. So once that happens, Mr. Guzman, you can bring that motion back, and then Ms. Maldonado, can come back in and we can hear from you again as far as that's concerned. So prepare that order. Would you, Ms. Maldonado? And
I'm just concerned because I feel like there's like,
no, I'm not going to hear any more of it. You made the front and center of your motion his residency, and I agreed with you. So now I'm granting your motion. I'm stopping all the overnights. But if you want to come back and argue all these other things, then go ahead and do it.
yes.
But right now, that's what's happening.
And
So,
how long do I have to wait for this to happen? Or
no,
how long does this period of time of
I
like I've
can't answer that.
I've been
Maybe,
divorced for 7 years. My kids have never had a stable home with him.
maybe you should contact an attorney and answer these questions. I will address your biggest concern, and I agreed with you. Children need a stable environment. And if Mr. Guzman's residence is not acceptable, and I agreed with you, I have done something that I normally never do, but it ain't enough for you. And I'm telling you right now, I'll listen to whatever you got to tell me once this residency issue is taken care of. But right now, his overnights are suspended until further order of the court, pending his having an acceptable residence. So prepare that order. And if he doesn't have an acceptable residence or he's with somebody that's not appropriate, you bring that back and I'll listen to whatever you have to say.
But I have brought it. I keep on bringing orders, and I feel like you guys are not listening to my
All
kids'
right,
safety.
now I'm done listening to you. So you're all set. Prepare that order and I will sign it. We're adjourned. Thank you. So this one kind of stumped the panel, okay? So let me explain that I've read your motion, Mr. Rivera. Are you aware that you are scheduled to meet with the Kent County Friend of the Court next
April 2nd.
Yeah. So why
Yeah.
am I ruling on this now? It's already been sent to the Friend of the Court, and I wait for them to make their recommendation before I do anything. So why am I hearing this now?
I have evidence to back up my reasonings.
Yeah, but then bring it with you to the Friend of the Court when you meet with them, and you're aware of the date and time, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so are you aware of that, Ms. Freeney?
No, I am not aware. I just got the paper with court date for this court. I didn't get any other paperwork.
Okay. There's an evaluation interview set for April 2. All right. They sent out notice to both of you on March 12th. And my fear is that they don't have your correct address, Ms. Freeney, and that's a problem. Do you know if they have your correct address?
No, they have my correct address. I've been getting all the other paperworks from all of the other dates that we've had, because we had a previous court order that was 2 weeks ago, and I got all the paperwork for that as well.
Okay. So I can't rule on this yet, Mr. Rivera. The Friend of the Court has to see and hear all your evidence. Then they'll make a recommendation as to all of these things. And then the parties can bring their evidence when they show up in next week to the Friend of the Court. Make sure you don't miss that appointment. And then the Friend of the Court will make a recommendation to me, but they are going to talk about physical custody, legal custody, and parenting time. And the fees for that were waived. So I can't do anything until that happens. So I'm going to respectfully deny your motions and make sure both of you are at the Friend of the Court when you're supposed to be, because that's the key to this. And you can bring in all your evidence and make sure they see it, because it's very important. Does that make sense, Mr. Rivera?
Yes, sir.
Makes sense, Ms. Freeney?
Yes, it does.
Okay, then, hopefully they'll work things out with you then, but if not, you and I and everybody else will have an evidentiary hearing, or a trial, but I'm hoping the friend of the court can resolve this for you. Okay, you're all set. Have a great weekend.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
you as well.
You bet. Mr. Hatchett joins us as well. Mr. Hatchett, good morning.
Good morning, how you doing?
I'm well, thank you. I have read, you're all right too? Looks like you're at the courthouse. Can you hear me, Mr. Hatchett?
Yes, I can hear you, I'm sorry.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Yeah.
So I've read the motion and filed by Ms. Reyes, and I've read your response, Mr. Hatchett. Is there anything that you want to add relative to this matter before I hear from Mr. Hatchett? Ms. Reyes.
I didn't receive a response from him.
You filed a response, didn't you, Mr. Hatchett?
I do, yes, I do.
Did you send that to Ms. Reyes?
Yeah, I just took it up to the court. And then I paid for the copies to get sent out. I don't know her current address is different from where she, lives. So I don't know.
Well, the court only does that if the person has a confidential address. Is your address confidential, Ms. Reyes?
No, I haven't changed my address over. The address I'm using now is my parents', and I'm there every day and did not receive anything.
Okay. Here's what I'm gonna do. Does Mr. Hatchett have your address? It says on the motion it's on 52nd Street. Is that correct?
Correct. That's the address on file.
Okay. I'll give you the option because I want everybody to have all the paperwork before I hear anything. So I'm fine to go along or ahead with your motion today. I'm also, if you request that I adjourn it, I will adjourn it and have Mr. Hatchett resend his allegations and perhaps or his response to the allegations. And perhaps if he had an email, he could just email it to you. And then there would be no question of it getting lost or in the shuffle. So your option, Ms. Reyes.
He can email it to me.
Okay, so you want me to adjourn it? You can email it to Ms. Reyes, Mr. Hatchett, and then we'll come back once she's had a review of your information because I think it's very important. Does you have her email address, Mr. Hatchett?
I think so, yes.
Okay, so what you got to do is you got to, and I think any place can scan it. You just need to scan it into your computer and email it in an attachment, and you have to renotice this, Ms. Reyes. You won't have to pay any other fee, and then I'll hear it once you have copies of all of that, and we'll see if we can get back down to business, okay?
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Right. You bet. Thank you, Mr. Hatchett.
Yeah, thank you.
You bet.